we're live.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on? What's going on?
What's going on?
guys?
What's in the box?
Josh, Ryan, and Dan here with...
I just watched your mouth go like that.
Well,
It's like ready, insert title. Here.
exactly.
Like,
That was supposed to be the joke that we don't have anything yet, so we
okay.
can't introduce.
all right, we're good. We got audio.
But it's like, you get like that blurring sound, and it cuts, and it's like a retake.
So what we need to do is just take this video, edit up, beep,
Yep.
at that thing, and then we'll just
Exactly.
insert name here.
I actually think we're supposed to introduce the whole title of the podcast and what we're doing. It's
Okay.
a long segmented thing that probably if we had a producer it'd get cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna get better at that.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes. This is, and I guess that's the thing that kind of is about today is how we've gotten better, and the idea that we had was asking each other questions.
Putting
today.
each other on the hot
Hot
seat.
seat, yes.
No boundaries.
Okay.
Who wants to start? Oh, I got mine here.
Yeah. Oh, see, I like how you've got the technology. You're like, I wrote notes.
Actually, you know what? So I've been to a lot of keynote speeches before, and a lot of their content has always been on their phone.
Really?
Yeah,
I would worry about getting.
they always have their
Distracted.
notes. Boom.
No shit.
Maybe a quick little easy one.
Okay, go.
Both of you guys.
Yep.
Top 3 non-negotiables. No matter what it is, who it might be, you're not giving these 3 things up. This is your key to happiness.
In what area of life?
That's why I said 3.
Okay.
So it could be any.
Give me examples.
You move to a new spot. These things are always gonna come with you, whether that's physically, mentally, like running. You're always gonna run no matter where you are. You move to a new city. Okay, I gotta find a new route. I'll bring my bike. That sort of thing.
Okay.
My son is my ultimate non-negotiable.
My dogs. Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Go ahead.
I would have to say. Time. My time is a non-negotiable
Yeah.
at this point in life. I think that, and I've learned this from you, in that you don't have a lot of it, and what you give up, it better be worth it in the end. So it's if I'm giving my time to something and I'm putting my 100% in it, don't give me a half-assed version of what you consider to be your 100%.
That's based on somebody else then.
That's based on me and what I'm willing to give up, and
Okay.
if someone isn't willing to either match that or doesn't understand that, then
Then you
I
gotta give
readjust.
them your time.
Yes, then
Yeah.
I'm not going to give my time.
My number 2 is my phone.
Okay.
So not dependent on my phone, but I always think it's the key to victory too. If I'm starting someplace new, I think you need it to network. I think you need it to distract yourself. I use it for books, so I think that's for me. These things can go with me, but I'll not. I won't use them. And then I learned this from Kelly Collins. No matter where you go, as long as you have a pair of gym sneakers, you're good. You can work out. You can go for a run.
There you go.
So those are my 3 things: my dog, my phone,
Shoes.
and shoes.
I like how he said dog because we know that he's in the dog house.
I am in the doghouse, and
Was
that's
it
why I was
even worse
late
last
today.
night? Really?
Yeah, I mean he's so mad at me.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you owe me one more.
Yeah,
Him.
so I'd have to say music. I have to have my music. In every situation in life, I think that if you can, not as a distraction, but as a soundtrack to the situation. I think that we all remember where we heard certain songs and where we were in life. And those can kind of remind you where you've been and how far you've come.
You have them right off the rip for you.
Me?
Yeah.
What are mine?
Yeah.
Gym, sleep, my time, alone time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So non-physical things.
What are my non-physical
Well, those
things?
are. I mean, a gym. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do a workout outside on a tree if you
Yeah,
wanted
no,
to.
so that's why I was going to say working out, but
Yeah,
wasn't
okay.
sure if that would kind of, yeah.
Jen, you're up.
All right, so this one is for you.
Oh,
It's
no.
my first question. In the past 8 years, how's your leadership style changed?
It has changed a lot where I think I was more emotionally attached to what other people did. So if I would coach a certain way and it wouldn't get done, then I think I would become more passive aggressive and I would analyze myself more. What do I have to do to get this person to do this? So for example, you want to make X amount of money. Okay, here's what we got to do. We draw up a blueprint and then we don't do those things. I would always get frustrated because you're not doing what you said that you wanted to do that had to be congruent with the goal.
Yeah.
So I've really taken a step back, and if it's meant to be, it's up to me. If I want it to happen, it'll happen, but it has to be on other their timeline. You know, if there's no urgency on somebody else, that's up to them. As far as like coaching you guys, that's where I come from. But as far as like coaching a client, I'm always going to care more than they care. Always, 1,000%. But again, I've removed myself emotionally from the equation so I can't get frustrated for the lack of results and the lack of work that they don't put in for it. So I don't get frustrated anymore. Yeah, great question. One tattoo that you regret. That was a quick one.
Oh my God. One tattoo that I regret.
Regret. The regrets.
The regrets. No regrets. Are you sure there's no regrets? Are you sure?
That one.
Okay. So it was probably one of like my earliest ones, but I had paid for me and my two brothers to get a nice calligraphy R on the wrist, but at the time red wasn't what it is now. So like it's all pink and faded and shit, and I probably could have actually gotten like the family crest had I thought about it.
Sure.
But that's probably the only one, mainly because it's like my nephews have now gotten it and I love them, but they haven't gone to real reputable artists in order to get their work. So it's like, shit, I wish I could have come up with something better, but I was like 18, so I was like, oh, this will be cool, and then, you know, your kids can get it. And meanwhile, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, my son's not gonna have that shit artwork on him. Like, I'll pay for something real cool for his 18th birthday for a tattoo, not something simple like that. But that's the one, as weird as it sounds with all of them.
Josh.
Okay. Oh, shit.
Age in which you're going to change your hairstyle.
I've always.
This isn't a question. I just threw it out there right now. I felt like you might have been left out because the questions got bounced back and forth.
I've actually thrown out the idea, and this was way before I knew you, of just buzzing my
Let's
head.
go. Let's go. Not like this.
No, like street buzz.
Okay.
Like Stone Cold.
So
Nice.
there was one time in high school.
Hang on. Everybody that's watching this, can you guys imagine Joshua Patrick, Danica's brother, him with a buzzed head? You come into work. You come into work one day with a buzzed head. You get anything you want. This shop is yours. I dare you.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Because it grows back.
Yeah,
Mine
yeah.
doesn't.
Long story short, went to a new barber that I never usually go to, asked for my usual, whatever, like the numbers that I give. Guy took the buzzer straight down my head. Like, so it was more of like actually like a marine cut straight, like not buzz completely bald. But he did that, and then at that point, I was like, okay, like there's no coming back from this, so like you gotta do it. And I don't have the best hairline, which is why it's always
Comb to the side.
comb to the side a little bit. So yeah, when I came in, actually would ever have that little receding hairline coming to the front. I just wore hats for like 3 months straight.
Okay.
It was bad. Not my best time.
I'm going to ask you a really deep question, right? What area of your life do you want to see the most improvement in? Dan squirms. Whoever wants to go first.
Relationships.
Okay.
Yeah.
Elaborate.
I do pose myself to be very independent, and I like it. I like to kind of like figure, whatever puzzle pieces out might be, just because I feel like that's, I don't know, that means like I'm working towards something.
Yeah.
So it seems like sometimes I put people on the back burner, but I want them to know it's not.
Them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I could just, even if it is just like a text a day, like with my parents, like obviously, I mean, granted, I've only been gone for a couple weeks, but I'll just shoot a random text out like, "Hey, how
I'm
are things
okay."
going?" Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, like I'm alive. Don't worry about me.
Yeah.
I get that. I'd have to go also with relationships, but my thing is holding myself accountable to be better at reaching out to people. I think that that's kind of always been my horrible part, and I mean, because I've got friends that are all over the world, and it's like I assume you're doing good until all of a sudden I find out you're not doing good, and then it's like, oh shit, like I wished I had known.
Yeah.
And then you think about it, like a couple years ago, a buddy of mine, I didn't know this until it was posted on Facebook, like was dying
Yeah.
in a hospital bed. No one told me. And then we ended up last year going to a funeral together for a friend, and he goes, "Why didn't you get a hold of me?" I said, "Why didn't anyone tell me that you were that bad, that you were in a hospital bed?"
Sure.
And it was like, then it snowballed into, well, we used to talk almost every day, then it was every week, then it was like quarterly, and it's like, that's on me as a person reaching out to my friends. And it's like, I don't like that it has to take a crisis to bring people together. But I think that that's one of my harshest critiques of myself, is that like I don't reach out because I assume you're okay.
Okay.
I think I'm very narrow-sided. Sometimes it's always like just I'm looking straight ahead, and obviously, like that's my fault. But sometimes I'm just like, listen, it's out of sight, out of mind. So like I just keep going.
Yeah.
But same thing, like it's never personal, and I know, like you said, if it's like a priority. So I always think of that, because then I'll know it's always like coming back to me, and it's like, okay, not everything it has to be like the other person doing it. I have to do just as much.
How do you
if I
feel
want.
when it's not reciprocated?
Not
So
bad.
how do you feel if like, and I know it makes you feel good, and I don't want to beat this topic up because I think these questions we gotta like fly right through them. When you're the one that's constantly reaching out, so like you're the dude that's like, hey, I'm checking in on you. I think sometimes it does feel good when someone says, hey man, I was thinking about you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So is there an emotional tie? Like, I'm going to keep reaching out because this person values me just as much as I value them? Or is it like, hey, it's just my nature. I'm going to reach out because I want to make sure I feel good. It's not about them. I know the answer is supposed to be the second part,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's tough when you keep dumping water or something into everybody
Yeah.
else's cup and yours isn't getting replenished. You guys share the same sentiments?
I think it kind of depends on the person and who it is. Like if I'm actively reaching out all the time, then after a little bit I'm like, okay, I kind of thought we were almost on the same level, so now
Sure.
it not being reciprocated is going to make me kind of question, like, okay, maybe I'm not like as important. But then, there's a couple friends that I have, maybe once, twice a month, like I'll shoot out a text like, hey, what's up, just want to catch up. He'll do the same thing,
Sure.
and then, shoot the shit for a little bit each time.
Who's got the next one?
I'll go.
Okay. Go ahead.
Both of you guys again, just because I like hearing your perspectives. We both read, and I think it's from Tim Grover's Relentless. His definition, or he talks about success. So what is your definition of success? And not using just like a one word, but
He uses one word in winning, I think.
that's okay. So then it's from winning.
Well, I think he uses win.
Yeah,
What
win.
does
Yeah,
win-
what does winning mean to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say success, because we're always trying to chase it, but it's like one of those things like when we went to Carly at the yoga place the first time,
Yeah.
and that little passage she read is like, our lives are always filled with trying to achieve accomplishments.
Yeah.
Um,
I think, to cut you off,
Yeah.
because it's in my head, I think it's this non-thing that's out there that you'll never reach.
Okay. So I was going to say, is your definition of success like congruent with an end goal?
I don't think there ever will be an end goal,
Okay.
because once you get to a certain point, if you're complacent, then you kind of like take your foot off the gas. There's never going to be an amount of money, a size of a house, a lifestyle, a relationship that like, okay, well, I'm successful because I have this relationship, or this house is big enough, this much money is in my bank account, because you're always going to want more.
Yep.
So I don't believe that there is. It's like the word balance.
Yeah.
I think like when Tony Robbins talks about like richness, I think you need to find like areas of your life that's super rich and that you value and that you're just good with. I think it's this thing that you're never gonna reach.
There's never going to be like a checkpoint where you say,
No.
I've lived a successful life because also that can all get taken away like
Yeah.
that. Like you can be at the top and have the house, the car, the wife, the dog, the everything, and then like someone gets sick. And then
What happens if it's a successful life where you're at peace with everything? You're just like, I have a great house, great relationships with my friends, family, everybody. My job is great. I enjoy going to work every single day. My kids are good. Like, I'm at peace where there's no chaos in your brain when you lay your head on the pillow every single night. Is that successful?
guess it depends on who you ask.
I mean, it's perspective. It's
Yeah.
a perspective question.
because some people like living in the chaos, and it's
Sure.
like at the end of a real tough day, they could be like, we made it through, and that's a success.
Sure.
That's a win. And it's like if they enjoy living in that chaos, I like the idea of having peace at the end of the day more than success, because
Yeah.
you can not succeed at something
And still be peaceful.
yeah,
Yeah.
walk into your house and it's like, oh well, my kid's doing great, my kid's healthy, my kid's alive, we're good, my dogs are healthy, my salt lamp isn't exploded on the floor, whatever it is.
That's
I love that
all
salt
done,
lamp, by
mess.
the way. I've got a question for Josh.
Oh, let's go.
This has been a good one.
Look at him, he gets all red and shit.
Yeah.
He's like, oh,
Josh is
no.
like, what's this idiot gonna say? All right, in the past year, what is one of the most important nuggets that you've learned?
Oh, okay.
Because in this place, you're here 10, 12 hours a day sometimes. They get dropped all the time.
Value, I think, to kind of sum it up the most. Because whether or not I think the information that I give out, the time that I give out, and like vice versa, the people that come to see me, obviously I want to ensure that they're getting, whether that is just like the best workout, a talk that they haven't had with somebody in a very long time that, they might have needed to get off their chest. It all like comes back to that. And, I wanted to kind of touch on how when you were talking about setting up the website, you were like, do you want us to be referred to as trainers or coaches? And I said coaches because I feel like, in a way, I associate trainer with just like a rep counter almost, but a
yeah.
coach, like I want to be able to, provide as much as I can rather than just like a workout where I said it like once before from a book I read. The relationships that you have like in here should be transformational, not transactional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something I always try to touch on the most.
I think that was a great, piece when you said, translational, not transactional. It's not about money.
Yeah.
No.
It's about, like you said, value. Like, what value are you bringing to every aspect of your life, not just in here.
Yeah.
Like, what value are you bringing to your friends?
Exactly.
Checking in with your friends, that's value, right?
And it's like a nice, like, at the end of the week, I can sit back and think, like, did I do all this stuff just for me? Or, like, what have I done for everybody else? Where it's like, I'm not, like, spreading myself out too thin, but it's like, am I doing what feels good or what feels right?
Yeah, it's not forced.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like one of those things where, the minute you stop like chasing after something, the more like it kind of
Comes
floods
back.
in. Yeah.
Both of you, what's one emotion that you wish you could erase people from feeling?
If I could put
This
it-
was on my car ride home from dinner with you guys last
Okay.
night.
Ooh.
self-doubt
Okay.
or self-limiting.
Thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Dan?
I'd have to go with like core emotions and everything. I'd have to go with like fear.
Yeah.
I think that fear holds more people back from being able to do the shit that they want to do. And I mean, people might say like, we have it easy. It's like, I'm sure Josh, when he was going through college to get his degree to be able to have the position that he's in now, was afraid of every single class
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or form. Or before he went, you've had fears like, is this going to be a success? Is this going to work? And I think that the fear of the unknown is what keeps people, like great people, from actually achieving their greatness. And that doesn't have to be a physical thing either. It can be a completely mental block.
One thing that I just thought of, a fear thing that's paralyzed me still to this day. So when I lived in New York City, I've always feared that I was never going to hear my alarm. So that's part of the reason why I don't sleep. So I always will be like, oh shit, I hope I don't miss my alarm today, right? And it's been something since that's 12 years where like I have this constant fear that I can't get over. Sunday is the only day where I can actually like sleep through the morning because I know the alarm's not going to go off. So I have that fear, which is a weird thing. It's where Sundays is where I pee the bed. Any other questions?
I got one.
I threw that in there, right?
Well, that leads to one of the questions.
Oh,
it was
no.
the second question for you.
Okay, good.
What are the benefits that you found since beginning therapy?
Ooh, one of them, I just think like I learn who I am more, and why I do the things I do or think the things that I think, and not holding other people to a certain standard. I think has been relinquishing emotionally, where I don't feel like I have to depend or expect, or I don't have to feel you're going to do a certain thing for a certain reason because that's the way I would do it. It's been very freeing. Like I don't have this. I could care less what anybody thinks. So like my emotion that I wish nobody could feel is like the perception of other people. I don't care what anybody else thinks.
Okay.
I wish everybody else could do that.
Yeah.
Because I think the opinion of other people in life plays such a huge role, and I think we use the word paralyze. It paralyzes you from making decisions that you'd always want to do.
Yeah.
It paralyzes you from going on vacations at certain places, wearing certain clothes, taking on a certain job or responsibility, or even how you parent your kids. So I wish people couldn't feel that. But I think therapy has kind of been more of a freeing thing, and I think as we promote it more, I think everybody should go.
Yes.
And I don't think it's this like therapy today. Like you whisper it anymore.
No.
I think it's something that you should be proud of.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys. What advice would you give your 16-year-old self? So last year, what would you say to yourself?
I did ask last night. What is the age that I'll hit that these jokes? Because like now to put it in perspective, let's see.
You shaved yesterday.
Okay, sure, but I've been now out of high school for 7 years.
Whoa.
I've got T-shirts.
I know, right? I know.
Jesus Christ.
This cutoff is over 7 years old. Like, come on, I got paint on it from painting this place.
It was worth a shot.
What advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
I got it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be you.
Yeah.
I think that has been something that I've like struggled with. That you, in my younger days, you want to be part of a group. Like we were talking about last night at dinner. Like you want to be part of the in-group. You want to do all these things, but then there's over time become this strange comfort in being comfortable in doing things by myself, and with that has come the real ones.
Sure.
It's like you surround yourself at times with people who don't have your best interests in mind, who don't care, who are like, hell yeah, the party guy, feed him more Jaeger. And it's like, well, I just stabbed my mattress with a sword. Like, that's not fucking cool. And it's like, a real story. Well, it's like, you look at that kind of shit, and it's just like, I wish I could look up and be like, don't worry about impressing people. Don't worry about trying to be in, and just be you. And the real ones will stay with you regardless of that.
Goes back to the perception of other people.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
And not in like a sad or negative way, but just like don't stop, like keep going. Because obviously, being 16 in high school, a teenager, I think I don't want to say like trying times, but you have that influx of, a lot of friends going in different avenues. You hit that spot where kids you were going to like 5th, 6th, 7th grade with were, you know, dropping out already, that sort of thing. And of course, you know, moody teenagers are always like, I want to run away, something. For whatever fucking reason, you fail a test, and it's like your life feels like it's over. It's like, it'll all work out in the end. Because then, like, the thoughts that you were having probably, you know, 3, 4, 5 years ago are congruent with where you are now, I think, so.
What would you say?
Fail.
You tell yourself
Fail as
to
many
fail.
times as you can. It's okay to fail. Because I think, like, we look at, like, trying out for teams or failing a test or trying a different, you know, scholastic avenue, fail. Because I think we look at, like, we talked about it the other day, if you don't hit your goal, is that a failure?
Mm-hmm.
So if, like, you set a weight loss goal for whatever amount of pounds and you don't hit it, then does your brain attribute that to being a failure? I say no. Like, because you're still progressing in a way, just like we talked about, you know, you're still digging for that gold, and if you're 3 feet short and that other guy comes and digs where you are, guess what? You just didn't go far enough.
Exactly.
So I think we have this negative connotation to what failure actually is, and it's not a good thing. I would have, you know, put more time and effort and a little bit into school. I don't know, because I think you should.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the value that these things brought, so I wish I would have read more books at an earlier age that were like this, like we talked about yesterday. You know, we got references of books that are going to be, you know, given to AP students.
Yeah.
What books do we think would be good? I wish that was introduced to me when I was younger. So, question to you.
For Dan, we talked about role models actually like a few weeks ago.
Well,
One of your role models you do look up to, and then that one person that you realize you did not want to be like.
My dad is my role model. Because I have made major fuck ups in my life, and the one person that I always go to when I fuck up is I call the old man. And like my mom will know, like when I call, I'm like, I need the old man. Instantly, phone goes right to Gary. You know, she hands the phone off, and then I'll show up at like 1 o'clock in the morning and knock on the door, and he'll get up and he'll talk to me. So, and plus he taught me a very valuable lesson in that my dad worked swing shifts. My dad was in the Navy for 21 years. My dad put in work so that the family would have a roof over the head and we wouldn't want for anything. And to me, that going back to success, like that's a success. And he did it without any thank yous and all that other shit. And it's just like, he taught me the value of work ethic. And to me, that's the most invaluable thing he could ever show me. The person I never want to be like is my older brother. And the reason why is, and without like saying anything that can get me in like super trouble, I watched his parenting and I watched his behavior being the youngest kid, and I saw what he did, and I said, I never want to be that guy. I never want to be the person when someone mentions their name, they're like, oh fuck, and they've got like 1,000 bad things, or like, or even worse, where like your kid is having a kid of their own, and the first person that they tell in the family is you, and you have to ask like, oh, well, does your dad know? He goes, not yet. I'm like, oh, cool, thanks. It's just, I'd never want to be that because I think about Logan. Mm-hmm. And I don't want Logan to ever look up and be like, I don't want to be like that guy. So,
you're up.
Okay. So, this one goes to you, boss. One accomplishment you'd like to achieve before you pass away? Because you're still young. I mean, you're almost 30. You are 39.
Consistency, you know, keep doing it for, you know, be the last guy standing. Be around 10 more years. Be around 20 more years. So if we did it for 10, like I think 2024 is 10 years. Do it for 10 more. You know,
Go one more.
and honestly, like if you think about that mantra, go one more, we could just break it down and be like, hey man, you got a long day. You got a book full of clients today. Man, I just got one more half hour.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, shit. We got one more mile. We got one more 12 or 4 mile run to run. You know, you have one more day until vacation or something like that.
Yeah.
I think we put too much pressure on the future tense instead of coach had this great expression. I don't know if you guys heard it yesterday. Love where your feet are today.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Right? Like, love where your feet are today because you're here for a reason. You know, don't worry about where your feet are going to be in 10 years. Don't worry about that, hey, I don't have enough money in my bank account to retire in 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can posture your life to be prepared for it, but don't stress about it. So I think the achievement of, you know, having longevity in a very demanding field, in a very competitive field, a very evolving field, I think would be the biggest achievement. Because I think if you branch it out, like you're just helping more people. My turn?
Yeah.
Let's go. What's one person, dead or alive, that you would love to meet and why? Quick answer though.
Anthony Bourdain.
Okay.
Oh.
Why?
I mean, do you guys know who he is?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the travel experience, the stories he could tell just from, you know, maybe not even just different cultures, but, you know, somebody that's been around everywhere who kind of likes to hear other people's stories.
Yeah.
Just kind of the same way. Just want to hear about like the experiences he's been through, the crazy stories that he's heard or has been through. But somebody I think who is very, and granted I didn't know him personally,
Sure.
but, you know, somebody who is very, like, I would say like stoic. You know, you couldn't tell his expressions he was very just plain said, but was always like a listening ear. But then obviously, rest in peace, we know obviously he was going through some stuff himself.
Listeners need listeners.
Yep.
I've always been fascinated by George Washington.
Okay.
And like, if you look at the history of America, we were losing the revolution for years. So it's like, imagine being the guy that is, and this is one of the reasons I like him so interested. Imagine being the only guy that could lead a brand new country. Like, all of these men signed their name to a document, and all these guys could have been the one to be like, I will lead us into this new, and they were like, nope, that guy.
Yeah. Would you bring him a toothbrush?
I was only thinking about the wooden teeth.
too.
That's it.
He's talking about leading the country. I'm talking about, Marta's got like licking his wooden teeth.
No, I'd bring him to a dentist. I'd actually get him hooked up. What about you?
That's easy for me. I think I'm a Kobe Bryant dude. Obviously his passing, but you know, Michael Jordan's still alive. Obviously that would be a cool conversation. But I resonate well with so much with the like obsessiveness of something. You know, to the consistency to want something so bad. And I just heard this the other day. When you chase success, you're never going to get it. So that was where my answer came from.
Yeah.
I heard that yesterday on the way home from dinner. I think it was an Instagram reel. Listening to Instagram while I'm driving, by the way. Okay, is that my question? Yes. You guys are up.
Okay. All right, here we go. Josh, this is actually a really good one. So you work with student athletes. That's, you know, I see you working with them. It's
Yeah.
great. Well, what's one bit of advice or suggestion you'd give to their parents?
Oh.
Because I think of what you say to the athlete, but what do you say to the parent who's there with the athlete? Or not there with the athlete?
Yeah. To also hold them accountable, to be consistent. Because I do have a couple kids. I think that, you know, when they come here, some of them know that they're gonna work hard a little bit. Like, obviously they'll still have fun because this is supposed to be like, you know, I'm not just gonna be another coach that's yelling at them all the time. You'll obviously get a good workout in for the right reasons. But then some parents, I think, are very, I don't know the right term, like lackadaisical with it. To kind of, because I like to set the foundation. But of course, if that's not, you know, reinforced, then that kind of is setting them up for, you know, I mean, granted, these kids are in 7th, 8th, 9th grade, but, you know, I think it translates a lot further down the line. Because, you know, I could say one thing in here, their parents are like, yeah, don't worry about it, and say one thing out there, then it's like,
Contradictory.
okay, exactly.
Yeah.
So then it's like, you know, when they come back, you know, again, they lost all things that kind of, as soon as they walk out the door, everything goes with it too.
Do you feel there should almost be an interview process with the parent and the student as well before taking on the kid?
I try to talk to the parents with the kids. Usually the kids will just come in and I kind of talk to them a little bit. I think it depends on the age range. Obviously, I'll cater it to that. But yeah, just so like the parents are on like the right track of mind too with the same thing. But of course, prefacing it with always like, I want them to enjoy it, so it's not just going to be like another
Practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard this the other day and I felt like it was really applicable. Like, you think about you as a kid, what do you always do? Why? When are we going to do this? How? Why do we have to do this? You always ask questions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At what point in time in our lives do we stop asking questions and being inquisitive about life?
Probably around 8th grade when we're told just to shut up and get ready to go to college.
Yeah.
But think about that. Like, I think we should go back to the kid mentality
Yeah.
where we experience life, ask questions, learn from everybody else in their life experience.
Yeah.
So, like, the conversation that we have with adults, we need to ask them the same questions we have with the kid. Like, why is your kid here? Why do you want to be here, kid?
Yeah.
So that way you get two perspectives. Because if the parent wants it more than the kid, and the kid's just here because it's playtime or it's externally motivating for them, you have an expectation. You know what you're probably going to get out of them.
Yeah.
It's going to be like an organized babysitting session. Where the kid's going to resist it. He's not going to look forward to it, and you always want them to look forward to it. So it's again like, I don't know. I think going back to the early stages of your life, just always ask questions.
I mean, you said it. This is probably like a little bit of a tangent, but you said it when I had like a couple of the younger kids here, and like I was just hanging out with them a little bit. You're like, you're leading the future, or something along the lines of like, these are going to be.
But think about like, okay, they have a routine. They're working out. They're being healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who cares? And I always say this: chances are they're probably not going to go be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Odds aren't in their favor. But what do? We instill fitness.
Yeah.
Discipline, how to listen, how to work well with
Exactly.
others. Where a lot of people don't understand that. Like,
Well, that's like one instance. Actually, I had a parent text me like a few weeks ago. Hey, like my kids are going to be a few minutes late. Is that okay? And I was like, I usually start like 2 minutes after, just because
Late.
some kids are late.
Yeah.
Granted, like middle school gets out at 3. So I was like, yeah, no worries at all. And they were like, no, probably not like a few minutes, but like 20, 25, 30 minutes. And I was like, at that point, like I'm gonna have to say no, but
well, because it's not. Go back to what you said initially. Value.
yeah,
You're not getting any value out of. You're not coming in to warm up. You're not coming in.
Yeah.
To get anything in of it. 30 minutes for X amount of dollars
Yeah.
isn't worth it for them.
that, and then it's also, would you let your kid show up to their class late and have like the same expectations?
Your job
Probably not.
late,
yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, listen, I try to be stern just to start to instill that sort of thing of whether it's just punctuality or
Don't
even
use the
respect.
word stern. Like, that's boundaries.
Yeah.
That's like your time, and you're controlling this situation. It's your time and how you're going to conduct your class.
Yeah.
And if you allow it, then everybody's going to come walk in whenever they want. It's not a drive-through.
Yeah.
I got one final question. You guys got one final question?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Like one answer really quick. What's one thing in life that most people value that you don't? I have my answer. Yeah, these are like thought provoking.
This one I'm on like a teeter-totter with, but like the opinion of others.
Okay, I was at understanding. I don't
Okay.
care to be understood.
Okay, I think I might take that
Good,
then, because I
good.
think that's a better way to put it.
Now that I've gotten older, I don't care about people's opinions as much as I do my own.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
used to care so much about other people's opinions of me, and then it became, well, what's my opinion of me?
Yeah.
And then also to go with that, like tearing other people down for just the sake of tearing them down.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like your words matter.
Yeah.
And you to the whole thing with the kids, but that also goes to like any person. Like one nice comment or one good critique is better than, man, that sucked, and you
Yeah.
just walk away. It's like you just ruin any chances of potential for that person.
Yeah. Josh, you're up.
Your greatest weakness.
My heart.
My anger. My anger is my weakness.
Yours?
I'd probably teeter off that and just say like the control of emotions.
Okay.
I think sometimes I think allow them to like consume where like this now won't shut off and it's just on repeat the entire time.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, your trigger words. Words that once you hear them, your brain implodes on itself.
Can't. Try.
Deserve.
Welcome back, kids.
Wow, the second cup of coffee. Wow, yeah. Which one's the worst? I think, well, I mean, just my opinion, can't. I mean, I think that's the most.
That one because somebody's in the middle of already doing it, saying I can't do it. And,
Yeah. I can't get that new job. I can't make time. I hear that a lot. I can't find the time to do it.
But pause. How's that new season of You? Oh my God, it was great. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, it's 12 episodes. That's a lot of time.
Your trigger word.
Try.
Yeah.
That like.
I think, and if you guys are listening, just do like an experiment. Like, listen to the dialogue of people, and you hear try, only, we talked about,
Yeah.
if.
Maybe.
Yeah. What was Chris's yesterday? I forgot.
If. No, his
It
was
was
if.
if.
Like,
Yeah.
if I'm able to do it, or, you know,
Yeah.
and it's like, what if? You know, that he. I go with the deserve. Holy shit. Until I heard that yesterday, and then when it was said, I was like,
You know what taught me a lot about the word deserve as we kind of wrap it up is hoorah.
oh.
He gave me a lot of like, yeah, you definitely don't deserve the word. You know, we deserve everything that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure he's got some biblical reference to it because that's where he got it from.
Okay.
27. Any closing comments, thoughts that you guys would like to add as we wrap it up?
Be a good human this weekend, and just because it's St. Patrick's Day doesn't mean you have to tie one on. And also, this was a really good one. Like,
This
I
was
like this
good.
one. I really enjoyed it.
I like the
Yeah, this
questions.
cool.
They're
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Stewart's, if you guys want to sponsor us, I don't know. Starbucks, I'll drink your tea. Folgers, I'll even put you in my cup. So anybody that wants to sponsor the show, you're getting about 1,000 views. That's a plug because we do that. If you guys watch it, keep watching it. If you guys have any ideas, shout them out to us. If you have any topics, any guests, even people that don't even go to the gym that we want to interview, that would be awesome too. That's kind of gone through some struggles or came out on top. But we got some cool topics coming up. We've talked about it last night. We're excited about that. Yeah, have a great Saturday. Look at the sun is shining
Yeah, I was
off
just
my
gonna say.
bald head.
Beautiful.
Josh's bald head in a couple weeks.
That's
All
where you're getting
for
your first
movies.
tattoo.